Welcome one, welcome all. I am joined by Kurt and Glock here today on this amazing NFL Sunday, a day where Jamar Chase takes over the crown as the best wide receiver, from LSU. No disrespect to Justin Jefferson, but Jamar Chase, obviously the guy you had to have if you wanted to win $1,000,000 tonight or today, I should say. Even I don't even check what the winning lineup was, but I think it was in the 259. So 259 ends up winning it all, and it was a Dallas Goedert, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow at quarterback. So finally, the Bengals stacks pay a dividend. Kurt, how'd you do today?
I just made a little late jump there at the end. So yeah, made a little money today. Mostly thanks to the Showdown, the London Showdown. But yeah, actually, I enjoyed today. Like I was talking to you all back, whatever it is,
backstage.
Backstage, yeah. I like to go back door. You know what I'm saying? But there was a lot of scores today from relevant players. I enjoyed it from a viewing perspective today. And at the end of the day, that's more about that than money, right? Just enjoying yourself, having a good time. I know I did.
It's the friends you make along the way. That's 100%.
Exactly.
Glock, you said you min-cashed without Jamar Chase. How was that sweat?
Oh, man, I don't enjoy those sweats because I had a Tua stack going into the late games. Felt pretty good about it. Obviously, I had Tyreek, and then, no Jamar Chase. And so every catch, he was always open today, fellas. He was always open. He was always effing open. So, yeah, I mean, that didn't feel good. But luckily, I hung on to the min cash, and I'm going to write about it for sure in my weekly article, and that way you guys can see what plays I exactly played. But yeah, I think Kurt mentioned it. It was a lot of fun. I mean, the touchdowns were aplenty. I think a lot of the good plays that had ownership went off. I think the most noticeable one that didn't obviously is Justin Jefferson. But if you got if you didn't play him and then played a Chase or a Tyreek Hill instead, Brees Hall smashed. There was a lot. Devon Chain smashed. I mean, it was all over the board. Detroit plays smashed. So I was talking to you guys before, we went live, and it is fun because anytime you don't really know what the optimal could be in your head, I think it makes for a fun slate because we were just talking about it now. We didn't know what the winning lineup was. So when you pull it up, it makes you learn a lot because you didn't know what to expect. Anytime there's a slate where only one clear game goes off and it's okay, you didn't have them, you're dead. It doesn't feel that great, but anytime it's touchdowns every game happening and people are going off, lots of fantasy points are scored. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, it was a fun slate. I'll take the min cash any day of the week. Obviously we want more here at RPS, but it's what Showdown's for, right? So let's get into it.
Yeah, we always want more. And I think the Jets defense getting that touchdown actually jumped that guy in the first for the millie there at the end. So that's a nice beat if you are Buckeye 151. What a guy. What a guy there. But we have a Showdown slate to focus on tonight. It is the 49ers. It is the Dallas Cowboys. Full playbook on the site. We have player pools from JVC and Big T. Big T, who has just been absolutely on fire. Literally any sport he's touching right now, it's turning into gold. So be sure to check it all out on the Run for Your Sports website. So we're going to go ahead and start with quarterback. We'll do position by position. This slate's a little bit different because the quarterbacks are the fourth and fifth highest priced players on this one on this slate. It is possible to double stack them, and it is actually an interesting aspect if you're interested in double stacking them. Kurt, what are you doing with the QBs on this slate between the Cowboys and 49ers?
Oh, sorry, I was doing a little of the NBA stuff. But I think it's definitely viable to fade them more so than usual. Usually I never want to do that, but I think you can make the case for it today because there's very isolated work going around. But probably I still in my lot of handbills I want to end up having one of them. And I feel like they finally have Brock Purdy priced up decently. At least maybe it's on a slate where there's actually some other better send-ups. I'm noticing it. But I'm leaning Dak, which feels weird, but I don't know because they made Christian McCaffrey way too cheap. I feel like I can kind of get all the touchdowns from McCaffrey and Debo, where I don't need Purdy as much, especially if it's a game if it plays out how I think it will. So I'm going to go Dak priority, Brock a luxury. Let's go, Scott.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, there's also the aspect where Christian McCaffrey is probably the most popular play in the captain tonight, and it might stray people away from playing Brock Purdy with him. Glock, what are you doing with the QBs here tonight?
Yeah, I think it really depends what script you're in for, right? Because, if you're playing Kurt's script and you're hoping Brock doesn't throw, receiving touchdowns to CMC or Debo, right? And they're more like handoffs and dump offs. I like Brock. I have a lot of him actually in my flex, but like I said, it really depends what scripts you're going after. And like just running my numbers, I think it's not going to be the contrarian take, but it's giving me a lot of 4-2 Niners, 5-1 Niners. And so my projections are predicting a smash here. I obviously live in Dallas, but I'm not like, a hard on for the Cowboys like VIP is.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, like from what I've seen so far from the Cowboys this year, I haven't seen much from their offense that really impresses me personally. The one game where, they actually relied on their offense to try and come back from behind was the Cardinals game, and they couldn't do it. Every other game, like they've just been taking the lead with their defense making plays. So if they can do that, if their defense can get them off to a hot start and give Dak a lead, I feel like Dak is better that way. Obviously, in years past, Dak has been, a guy that's been an expert at trailing, tossing the ball around, and getting a lot of garbage time fantasy points. So if that's a script you're in for, obviously both QBs are in play. Just personally, I'm more leaning towards the Niners side, so I'll have more Brock Purdy. So that's kind of how I'm handling the QBs. But like I said, I think one of the more contrarian routes on this slate is to try and jam both QBs in if you can. It just may not be the route I'm going personally.
Yeah, I get that. Obviously the game being in San Francisco, Dallas dropping, their only loss of the season was to the Cardinals. The spread is pretty tight in this one. We also have it on the playbook as well. And both defenses here are incredible, right? You look at it, obviously the Cowboys losing Trevon Diggs and stuff definitely hurts their secondary a little bit, but you still look at it. I mean, they absolutely dominated the Patriots last week. 49ers have seemingly dominated everyone they play. So this is actually a really interesting one, but like quarterback-wise, I just think, the Cowboys just have so many weapons. And you look at their box score, and it's absolutely awful because I know the fact of the matter is every time Dallas plays outside the Cardinals game, it seems like they get a 30-point lead or a 20-point lead, and they just aren't throwing it in the second half. This week, I think it's different. And I just think that, I think both quarterbacks is viable, but it's really hard to do it if you want Christian McCaffrey captain. I do have a slight lean for Dak over Purdy, but I think it all depends on how you see the game going. Run Pure Sports, we do have a free bet up here on the site too as well. There's Dallas Cowboys covering the spread here. I think, what is that spread? 3.5 now. So Dallas Cowboys plus 3.5 is the free bet from JVC. So take that for what you will, but definitely build it to the script of your liking. For running backs, though, we got two big dogs here. We got Christian McCaffrey and we got Tony Pollard. And we also have Kurt's Fortnite guy, a guy he's played Fortnite with quite a bit, Rico Dowdle. Tell me a little bit about the running back positions, Kurt.
Christian McCaffrey should have been more expensive. I wish they could have gave us the thought of like, okay, we should fade for this, this, and this, but no, just plug him in and play him. You can always do the injury thing. We don't wish for injury, but I think it's Mason, the guy they're going with, who's been working in. Rico's been working in, period. So, I think he's fine for a cheap option. I have another dart I'm going to be throwing a lot more. But, Rico's been involved with the goal line and stuff, and he's scored this year. He's looked good. He's done enough. They don't like to give Pollard a full workload. So I think Rico's very viable for some salary relief.
Yeah, I think at 3K, it's definitely interesting. What about captain-wise, Glock? I'll kick it to you for this. Is McCaffrey your just go-to captain right now? And we can even touch back to the quarterbacks. I don't really have that much interest in captaining the quarterbacks, but McCaffrey and these wide receivers I might have more interest in. What about you?
No, yeah, I totally agree. I think captains captains for me, I generally reserve them when it comes to QBs, like dual threat guys. And, I think everyone knows that, but if they don't have dual threat upside, it's a lot harder to hit the optimal, just on DraftKings specifically with that PPR that you get, generally I'm more geared towards wide receivers. And obviously Christian McCaffrey's not a wide receiver, but he functions as one a lot because he gets a lot of dump offs and the offense is, built around him. So I'm going to try to get different, obviously with CMC captain, leaving a lot more salary. And then like Kurt mentioned, playing a guy like Rico Dowdle in a 5-1 where, maybe the Dallas just struggles the entire game. Rico Dowdle comes in like that last drive. We mentioned a lot in these shows. He just comes in the last drive, catches 3 to 5 dump offs, and then boom, there's not many points that have been scored from the Dallas Cowboys side throughout the game. And then right there, he's optimal. So I like Rico Dowdle as a last in Cowboys piece. And then, yeah, Christian McCaffrey, can't deny, how strong of a play is going to be. It looks like it's going to be 80 to 90% owned. Can't blame you there. Obviously, we don't root for injury, but, Elijah Mitchell is out, something we didn't mention. And last week when he was out, CMC played 85% of the snaps, it looks like. And then Jordan Mason played the other 15. Obviously, Kyle Juice Cook, as I like to call him, comes in for some blocking work and little handoffs and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, CMC all the way for me. And then, I can't play everyone right. So I'll probably be underweight on Tony Pollard. Like I said, it's really the script that you want to play. If you think it's a close game, I would probably play some Tony Pollard and just be aware, like whether or not you're going to pair him with Dak or not. That's just kind of my point of view on it. But I'm a 5 to 10 lineups guy, and I'll probably be super underweight on Tony Pollard, and then I'll have a sprinkle of Dowdle in like the Niners smash scripts.
Yeah, 100%. I think just looking at ownership, it looks like Lamb and Pollard will be the guys who come in a little bit under-owned at like 30-ish% compared to McCaffrey, who's probably going to be pushing upwards of 60 to 70 easily tonight. And then both quarterbacks are clocking in above Pollard for sure. So Pollard could be the sacrificial lamb. Oh, wait, I can't use that because the sacrificial lamb could be CD himself. But yeah, I think it's a good point you brought up there too, Kurt. Jordan Mason, they don't want to give McCaffrey 100% of workload, but they basically did that last week, it felt, right? Obviously, they can use Debo in the backfield. They have very creative offensive sets, right? I might take a small dart on Jordan Mason in a few lineups and stuff, kind of do it that way. But I definitely am more interested in Rico Dowdle. Obviously, the price difference of $1,200 though is definitely going to be in play. But yeah, I'm with you guys. It's definitely CMC is the top guy in the captain slot for me. And then Tony Pollard, I might try and get overweight on him. I think through my first run, I was just above 30%. So it makes sense to be even with the field. He does have just a ton of upside. We know that we all know how much the Cowboys want to run the ball at the goal line. They did it all last year with Zeke too. I think Pollard, we can't completely forget about him, but I do think he's probably better paired away from Dak. Obviously, that kind of correlates, right? Not pairing running back with your quarterback stuff, but probably the route that I'm going to go. And let's go ahead and move on to wide receivers. We have a bunch of wide receivers here that I really like. Brandon Ayuk is the alpha in San Francisco, and he is better against man coverage. Dallas Cowboys run some of the most man coverage in the league. I do think this is an Ayuk spot over Debo. And then you can look at on the opposite side of the ball, CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, we know he's the guy in Dallas. But you also have Michael Gallup and Brandon Cooks at a pretty cheap tag here, too. This is interesting. Kurt, what are you doing with these wide receivers here?
I really like Gallup tonight for someone cheap. Lamb, I think I'm prioritizing Lamb over Tony Pollard, but you really can't go wrong with one or the other. Like we've seen Kyron Williams tore up San Fran pretty good. Same type of role as Pollard. So, I mean, it's really like splitting hairs there. And then Gallup and Cooks is really interesting. Like Cooks is playing a shit ton of snaps, like a shit ton. And I was fascinated by Gallup, so I missed up on how much is actually Cooks. My bad.
Cooks is 5,600, I believe.
Gallup, I think you can't go wrong with either of those. Like I think I could see one of those guys hitting the optimal tonight. I prefer Gallup. I think Cooks is he's not that old, but I don't know. I've just never had much luck with Cooks. I prefer Gallup, but I feel like people probably the opposite. People prefer Cooks, so even better. I'll take the little bit of ownership leverage right there. And then I'm just when Ayuk is healthy, it just doesn't seem like it's ever a Debo night. Like I just prefer Ayuk when he's healthy, when he's going. He's just the more natural wide receiver. If C-Mac got hurt, obviously Debo could do some of those gadgety plays, and then he would end up nuking. But I much prefer Ayuk, like you said, man coverage. They just try to jump balls way too much. They'll just be play way aggressive. The play action. I think Ayuk could be the one that benefit from that the most. We're not talking about tight ends. So I think that's – I don't have any other cheap receivers. Like I know Tolbert has been working in decently, had a decent game last week, but I just don't really – Turpin, if you want to do the kick return thing. I know I've mentioned that in the preseason, but I'm not doing that tonight.
Yeah, Turpin, that gadget play. They do run that jet sweep with him a little bit.
He's good.
Make it happen, just put in that chat right here. So, Glock, what are you doing with the wide receivers tonight? And are you Ayuk over Debo as well?
I think I'm going to spread it around. Like the way I'm building tonight, it's going to be 49ers concentrated for sure. So, I'm going to have stronger fades or underweight positions on guys like Tony Pollard and CeeDee Lamb. And what that'll allow me to do is kind of rotate in between guys like, whether it be in captain or the util spot, CMC, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. I know he hasn't had a great start to the season so far, and we'll get to him in the next section. But guys like that, I'm going to rotate around, right? Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk for sure. And then when it comes to the other receivers, I think price-wise, I like Gallup just like Kurt does. He's been better as of late. I think 11 and 15 fantasy points his last two. It's going to be like a big decision point for me where, like, do I want to play the Dallas kicker? We'll obviously get into him, or play a guy like Michael Gallup. And then, you get down to guys like Juwan Jennings, Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin. I'm not going to get there myself personally with my 5 to 10 lineups, but, I can't blame you, right? Like, if you want to do that Turpin thing, maybe get the double dip with the special teams and whatnot. But I'm going to probably just stay like in the Michael Gallup range and above when it comes to wide receivers. And I don't think I'll be playing any Cooks right now. I just generated my lineups and I'm not seeing any of him. So yeah, I'm just going to be more concentrated on the San Fran wide receivers and then taking my value on the Dallas side.
Yeah, that's interesting too. I mean, Brandon Cook's projection seemed just a little bit soft relative to the people in that area, right? Obviously, we haven't talked about Kittle or Ferguson yet, but you look at it here, he's underwhelmed at start because he's been dealing with a little bit of nagging injuries. He hasn't gotten off on the best foot, to start the season, but he does have a ton of talent. We all know that he can be, the clear second option in this offense potentially, playing second fiddle to CeeDee Lamb. But I do like Gallup. I think you see a big play guy. I think that money they gave him, he's finally coming into the season healthy. He already had like one decent game already this season. I do prefer Gallup over Cook straight up, I think. Jason Graham, you asked us to rank this. Personally, like, I think it would be Gallup, Cooks, and then Ferguson. It's tough, but we're going to go ahead and get the tight ends, and maybe I'll have you guys rank that afterwards. Kurt, talk to me about Kittle, talk to me about Ferguson, and maybe perhaps our only real value option in the lower 200 range, which is Luke Schoonmaker, Michigan man.
Yeah, so I think this will be kind of where I can give something that's not so robotic. I'm not playing Kittle. I think Kittle's the best fade of the night. This Dallas pass rush is absolutely lethal, and we know what San Fran does when they're facing either a hurt lineman or an elite pass rush. They keep Kittle in there to do what he's great at, which is help blocking. I'm taking the under on his props. Yes, that means he gets his bullshit touchdown today. I don't care. Every time I say dumb shit like this, even though it makes sense and is football correct, I get absolutely just But logically, Kittle is a good fade tonight for that reason. So low on him. And then Luke Shoemaker, Peyton Hendershot's out, was playing. I think last week we did see Shoemaker play like 56% of the snaps, we saw Shoemaker play 50. He dropped like an end zone, what probably would have been a touchdown. So I think he had a chance to drive Chevy. Yeah, it makes sense because he doesn't block. All right, he's a glorified ball. Like, it's just not a good play. He's not a good play tonight, and he's going to score a 60-yarder.
You're calling Kittle not a good play tonight, right? Yeah. All right, so just to let people know Kurt's track record. He did not like Pat Fryermuth 2 weeks ago. Who was it last week? You were on Conklin a little bit last week. Uzama.
Oh yeah, I played all of it.
Yeah, they were too cheap last week.
Yeah, they were too cheap last week. So Glock, tell me about these tight ends.
Fryermuth wasn't doing shit to that late touchdown, you pussy.
Hey, you scored. Right?
That's all you needed. That's all you needed.
Just need to get into the box, baby. Glock, any of these tight ends getting into the box is my guy. Am I the biggest Jake Ferguson fan you know? Is he getting into the box?
I like both the tight ends.
I mean, I like this position for sure. All three will be in play for me and in my pool. I'm not going to take a hard stance fade like Kurt is for sure against Kittle. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if I'm on the Bang Bang Niner Gang crew, I got to have some George Kittle, right? And at that tag 6,400, all he does have to get in the box, right? He just has to get in the box, and he's most likely optimal. Pair him with Brock Purdy. I mean, I like George Kittle a lot more than Kurt does, and like just looking at his ownership right now, 24 to like 30%, you could say that's kind of underowned. I mean, I know he's been bad, right? But it just takes that one game, and we're doing single slate DFS, so I like Kittle a lot. Jake Ferguson, someone mentioned ranking it. I would rank it. Where's that?
Thanks, Rubes. Why don't you just keep posting it? I hope Kittle fucking just does nothing. Like, I come on here and make a strong stand on someone who's popular. God forbid. Like,
he's not that popular, though. I would say he's not that popular.
Bro, you know what I mean? Like a top play.
I mean, I don't think he's a top play. Like, he's not going to be like 40-50%.
No. I mean,
he's not going to be like 40%.
A guy who's involved in the offense, a regular contributor.
I mean, that could be Kyle Juszczyk.
I'm done with you. I'm gone. Kyle Juszczyk is a god. First of all, I might play him tonight just out of spite.
I mean, he's a regular offensive guy, so you know, you got to categorize it. I know what you mean.
What I mean, bro.
But yeah, just to wrap it up,
tonight, right? We know, like I'm man enough to admit that he's probably gonna go off tonight. I'm just giving you a logic of I think he's gonna have to stay in and help. From like Micah Parsons is a stud. The dude's a freak. They need help. They don't want freaking Purdy to get uncomfortable because he might get exposed. But yeah, so I'm just making logic. Is he gonna catch a screen to the house? Yeah, probably. But I'll live with it.
Are you a closet Cowboys fan, Kurt? Just tell me now.
Should I be?
I don't think you want to be part of this fan base, to be honest. But yeah. Anyways, just to wrap it up, Rubio, I like all three tight ends of this. You know, Kittle, Ferguson, Schoonmaker. Definitely gonna have all three in my pool for sure. Schoonmaker is definitely gonna make some of like my 5-1 builds for sure, where he's like the lone Cowboys run back. And yeah, I mean, I think Kurt, you're open to taking your L's. I think I've been on this show like the past 2 or 3 weeks, like hammering 5-1s, and it hasn't worked out. So hopefully tonight's the night, and I'm not having to take an L. So yeah.
So Kurt, you're taking a beating here. You can victory lap it all you want in Discord.
The thing is, what is your stand, man, going? What is your fucking stand? That's what I want to know. I come on here, I give one thing. Everyone, I love Debo today. I love Ayuk. I love everybody. No, that's bullshit.
He's the cash guy. He's the cash guy, bro. He's got to spread it out.
Yeah, man, go to the Showdown guy. He's done this show for 2 years.
Everyone. God for fucking bid. I'm man of the people. I am man of the people. I am trying.
All right. Anyway, I like Schoonmaker a lot for value. I think 200 opens up a lot of doors, especially if you see points in any capacity. I think he is by far the best value. I mean, 3 targets last week. I think it was a goose egg. I'm cool with. I'm honestly cool if he doesn't do that much at all. I do think that it's funny as hell that Mangone immediately fucking snap calls and then wants to come on the show.
Watch your fucking mouth, Kurt.
Oh my God, it's Mangone.
Hey, I wonder what's your stand tonight. What is your? Give me one stand.
I'm not gonna play Dak because Dak is ass.
Oh right. Baby,
I'll count that. Yeah, I'll count that.
Like,
I feel like a lot of people agree that Dak is ass, but I'll count that.
Yeah, but not a lot of people are gonna fade him. Like I'm fading him. I'm playing the position players instead.
I respect the hell out of it.
I mean, I'll say this: in my MME, am I gonna fade him completely? No, but I'm probably gonna have like
that's not what I meant. Yeah.
I'm just
telling you, what is your core for today? Give the people your free core today.
My core. So actually, I went back and forth on making it a onslaught of CMC, Purdy, Kittle, but I went with CMC, Purdy, and Ferguson. And I really like Ferguson in this spot. I thought he's a pretty good value. And if you want 4, I'll definitely have Kittle. So those are going to be 4 guys that I have on my main team tonight. So yeah, that's basically it. But I understand the try, Kurt. Like I applaud you for your effort, but it's not going to work out well for you.
You're on mute.
Yeah,
applying football logic to DFS is just there's no point. I'm applying football knowledge and logic, and there's just no sense in doing it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This is what happens. Your thought process is fine, but the problem is Kittle is used in games that are competitive, games that matter, games that are going to be important when it comes to the playoffs.
They're going to beat the living shit out of Dallas. Dallas sucks.
Yeah, but they're gonna open the playbook to start the game. Like, sure, when they're up a bunch late.
No, we had the same conversation last year when they had the left tackle out. Like, kills a glorified bucker. The left tackle ain't gonna do shit against Micah Parsons. It's the same situation as having a backup.
I can't wait till Kittle scores like on like a 5-yard touchdown.
I'll trade one out and I'll be in bed peacefully.
Just like so upset. He's like, oh man, we would have got away with it. Like we were gonna get away with that. He wasn't going to play until he caught that. Like
I will be in bed and then I'll wake up and see that everyone else probably won because everyone else is jerking a Kittle. I'll be happy for everyone else because I'm not a spiteful person. I will say I took a stand, took my L. Everyone else won. It's a win-win. I'm happy for the people.
I'm shouting out Kurt and for when he gets owned by George Kittle, and I'm upping my George Kittle projection right now.
Everyone lock in George Kittle.
For the people who don't know, Big T loves 49er showdown slates, and a big reason for that is because of George Kittle. He gets to play George Kittle on these showdown slates, and he played him last time that 49ers on a showdown slate, and we did well. We did very well. We were at the horse track that day, and I'm honestly, Kurt, I hate to do this to you, but I'm on Team Kittle tonight. I just think that he shows up in big games, and this is a big game. And yeah, fuck you, Kurt. Anyway, let's move on to kickers and defenses. So I want to bring this up. Both these kickers are they the number 1 and 2 kicker for fantasy football in general today? Like, I think Aubrey and Moody seem to kick 4 or 5 field goals in a game. They are priced up above 4K. It is interesting because normally I don't love kickers. We sprinkle them in, right? But these offenses love to kick field goals. Glock, I'll kick it to you first. Tell me what you're doing with these kickers today.
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot. I think more so on the Niners side because, obviously Niners favored. So I'm going to get more Moody exposure. But I like both, right? You said it. Brandon Aubrey averages 12.8 fantasy points a game. Like, that is absurd. Mike McCarthy is just seems like the most passive dude ever. And any chance he gets, he's going to kick a field goal. So, I don't think you can go wrong with either kicker. I would probably max one personally. If I were to make a rule regarding 150 lineups, but I like them both for sure. And yeah, I'm just it's a salary thing, right? So you have them bunched right under Jake Ferguson and Michael Gallup. I'm seeing actually a lot of lineups where I'm not seeing a lot of salary. So, just like a 1v1 where you have Jake Ferguson in your util and then you drop down at Brandon Aubrey, you're leaving 800 on the table potentially. So I like that pivot, and you can go all the way down, right? Michael Gallup into Moody, Michael Gallup into Aubrey. Those are stuff I'll be considering for sure. Yeah, I like the kickers a lot tonight.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Kurt, what are you doing with these 2 kickers tonight? You going to be targeting them mostly? Are you making them a priority even?
I'm making them a priority. I love them tonight. This game, I say this every time. I think all the games scream kickers because the product's been so bad. Besides today. Today was fun. I love Aubrey the most. I think he has an absolute boot. And like Glock said, McCarthy is a big, so he'll kick at any chance he has. Love both. Prefer Aubrey. Usually when I say prefer one kicker, it means play the other one. But I'm going to just have a pretty good balance of both. I don't think 2 is out of the question. I'll say that. I think this will be the first time I've built 2 kickers in a while. So a lot of Aubrey love. And one more thing, and I swear to God, I'll drop it. In a very competitive games versus the Rams, 30-23. How many points did Kittle have? How many targets? He had 3 targets. He had 6 points. Competitive game versus the Rams. I'm done. I'm sorry, everyone. There we go. Very competitive game.
Mangone's loading up. Look at that face. Mangone's loading up. He's ready to go.
Mangone is loading up, but I do have to bring this narrative up. This is an important narrative right here, all right? Drake just dropped an album a couple days ago. Aubrey Graham. Now, Mangone, I'm going to kick it to you. Are you buying into the Aubrey narrative here? Aubrey Graham drops an album 2 days ago, and that album is heat. It's a great album. It's got Chief Keef on it. Are you buying into Brandon Aubrey tonight because of that album?
No, I am not. I'm out on that narrative. But I like the kickers.
Album good.
I think the kickers are good. I think I'll play the kickers. I think I'll play the kickers because the spot that they're in is just, it's we got these guys that Mike McCarthy, he likes to kick. I'll admit Shanahan definitely is down to kick field goals too. So, and honestly, I think one thing about kickers too, when the defenses are really good, right? They put you in tougher situations. And when they put you in tougher situations, I think overall that helps for 3rd and longs, and those 3rd and longs turn into kicks. I think the value too is rough on this slate. There's not a lot of guys that you're going to like. And because of that, we really, really have to look at kickers as values. I don't mind Glock's idea of only playing 1 if you want to, but I think they're just good values on this slate overall.
So some people have differing opinions on
Drake
the album.
Fans.
Yes. Yeah. If you thought the album was good, I recommend playing Aubrey. If you thought it was shit, then play Moody, right? I do like Glock's idea of maybe separating them. I do want to say, because there's not a ton of value below 3K, really, Schoonmaker is the only one I really like. Jordan Mason, 1,800, only had 3 touches last week. It is viable to do the double kicker a little bit more than I was really expecting. I do think it has to be a little bit in play. One thing, too, is we mentioned the value's bad, right? I know we don't love playing defenses, right? It sucks, but it's been hitting at an unreal clip. Brock Purdy does like to throw it to the other team at times. I know Travis posted or retweeted some guy who really loved Brock Purdy's footwork and shit, but both these quarterbacks can throw it to the other team. I don't mind going one of these defenses at all. I actually think I might be a little overweight on the defenses just because if they get 4 or 5, you're not dead, right? But if they get 8 or 9, they have a very strong chance to be optimal because, they don't really have anyone to compete against below 4K. Glock, I'll kick it to you first for the defenses. Do you have any? You're obviously on the 49ers side of things. Do you have any of the 49ers defense in your current 5 to 10 teams?
Yeah, I definitely do. And like I mentioned, it's all based on the script that you're running, right? In a showdown lineup, you have to make sure it makes sense, right? And so if I'm 49er smash, I'm definitely not including the Cowboys defense in my util spot or anything like that. But, if you do like the Cowboys, they're a clear leverage spot in this slate. Like, it's looking like they're only going to be 10 to 15% owned at a 3.4K tag. I don't remember the last time I saw an elite defense. Like, generally they try to price up elite defenses in this spot and make them 5K, 6K. But, the Cowboys, if they have one thing, it's their defense, right? And, it could be a slog. If it's a slog, I don't want it to happen, but double defense in the util, it could happen, especially at this tag. It's low, and personally, I'm not going to get there, but it's something that you should consider if you do like the Cowboys in this spot. And you are fading some of the San Francisco 49ers guys. Like obviously, if you have a build that fades CMC, I'm playing Cowboys defense 100%. And those are kind of the scenarios I'm thinking through my head if you were pro Cowboys. But since I'm not, I'll have 49ers in my util. Not overweight position, but I'll have some for sure.
Perfect. Kurt, I need you to get a core on the website. And while you're giving a core on the website, go ahead and feed the people the core that you're on for your lineup tonight.
Kurt is nodding out. Are you falling asleep, bro?
Yeah, Kurt.
No, but I was literally thinking about something.
Thinking about Kittle, bro.
How many
No, I was thinking about so. I don't want to talk about it, but I was thinking something about this game. Let me go pass it over to Mangone. I'll put my core up. Totally forgot.
All right, Mangone, are you on the kickers over the defenses? I think we all are as a group, but I did see this question asked by Jason Graham here. I think we're all on the kickers over defenses, but tell me a little bit about the defenses. How much are you playing tonight if you are MMEing tonight?
I am. I just want to get this George Kittle first touchdown bet in just for fun, so let's throw that in. All right, that's in there. We just booked it.
You literally could donate. You could donate that to charity. There's children who are starving in the world. You could donate.
I will. When that wins, Kurt, I will donate some of that money to the charity of your choice. Okay.
Donate it to my broke ass because I will be broke if he scores first.
No, it's going to the charity of your choice, and it can't be the Kurt Foundation. So maybe some Marshall Foundation that you got there. But so yeah, I do think kickers over the defenses for sure for me. Value is really rough on this slate. That's one thing to call out. Luke Schoonmaker is the value that we are looking at. It is rough out here. So you could make a case for Mr. Juszczyk. I think Jordan Mason isn't a bad one. If you think it's going to be kind of a little bit of a blowout, you can make a case for that. And Rubio, I think that's one reason I like Ferguson and Michael Gallup, because I kind of think they are values, right? I know and understand that typically the word value is the cheapest guys on the board that can help make things work, but I just think they are guys that can provide value to help make things work in your lineup. If Christian McCaffrey was priced at $8,000 on a normal slate, you guys would be saying, oh, that's value, right? So I just think that Jake Ferguson and Gallup are providing us some value here that's pretty helpful. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah,
no, I like it. I do.
I'm gonna backtrack. I'm gonna backtrack on my max one kickers build.
Yeah.
I do think that's a good point about the value. I think if you run 150 lineups and you just run vanilla optos, you're going to get a lot of Schoonmaker. And if you do max one kickers, it's going to funnel even more builds to, that type of value. So I'm going to backtrack on my max one. I'm going to be okay with 2 kickers in the util for sure, just based on the value that we have.
If I told you let's all make a bet and pick guys below the defenses and we each get one tonight and we have to root it on. I don't feel good about any of them. It feels.
The thing is too, with these two teams, it doesn't always seem like it's always one guy that goes off and everyone else is kind of meh. That's what makes the 2 kickers even more viable, because the mid tier is just. I know I really like a mid tier play. I love Gallup, but you could get all the points from C-Mac and all the points from Lamb or Pollard, and then the 2 kickers thing worked with one more stud. It's easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
I don't like these teams.
Kurt, give me your core. I saw that you just put it up. We are holding hands on the Schoonmaker core play, and the last time we held hands was.
That's what I'm saying. I had to do it. I had to do it. If you guys watched the game last week, he had an easy touchdown, and I just think he kind of. Look at the snaps for $200. We know Dallas likes to get those tight ends involved. Now, when he scores, will I know it's him, or will I think it's Ferguson for a split second? Yes, I will. I will think, because I can't tell any 3 of those.
It is confusing. Yeah.
They're all 84, 85, 86, 87. I'm who's who? I can't ever tell. But Yeah, Luke Shoemaker season, baby.
Yep, Schoonmaker season is definitely here. We can go ahead and take any questions that anyone has. Mangone, I'll kick it to you real quick as well. Tell me a little bit about the MME. Who are you underweight on and who are you overweight on compared to the field? I know you already gave out a core. We can just focus on the underweight side of things because we already know your core. Who are you most underweight on other than Dak?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Let me see. I'm pulling it up now. I am not underweight on Dak on my run just here. Let me just double check. Yeah, so I don't.
What? He lied to us.
Well, I have to
He
move.
lied to us.
The math ain't mathin'.
Has it locked yet? No, it hasn't locked yet.
It's locked. Just locked.
So it didn't lock yet. Okay. I know I struggled on these shows last year with when lock was, but it's the 20 mark. It's not the 15 mark. I used to always mess that up, but not today. So I'm definitely looking to make adjustments to that. It seems like guys I'm underweight on. I think I'm going to be more underweight on. I got to pick either Lamb or Pollard. That's going to be obviously a big decision that I'm going to have to make here. Let's see. I have to rerun it, Rubio. So come back to me. I can't. These numbers aren't right. So let me fix that. I'll ask you this question, Rubio, because I think this is a good one. In your MME, how many captains are you doing?
I have 9 captains: CMC, Pollard, Lamb, Ayuk, Samuel, Kittle, Cooks, Ferguson, Gallup. I do not have either quarterback in the captain because I do think that they can really end up focusing on one guy. And it could be McCaffrey or Ayuk for the 49ers, even Kittle or Debo in that situation, right? I do think Lamb, Pollard, or even one of these wide receivers being so cheap with the limited value that we have, I do think that it's the move to X out the quarterbacks. Obviously, I'm taking a risk, but it does allow me to trim up the pool. I have 0-5-1s. I'm sorry, Glock. I'm also going 0-5-1s on this slate. But yeah, I really like the spread it's giving me right now.
Yeah, can I also backtrack and say that when I told you I had a lot of Dak, I did not. That was on my FanDuel one, and I was on the wrong tab, so that was the issue. Same for Sim is sometimes you see it wrong. You know what I mean? I wasn't looking at it correctly, but I am at 40% Dak captain, which I assume is underweight, but I'm going to give it another run just because not getting enough Jake Ferguson. I want to up him a little bit because I think he's a really good play. So yeah. That's kind of where I'm at right now. What do you think of Lamb versus Pollard? I think that's a really interesting debate. That's one I need to make an adjustment here right now too.
I think gut check, no context allowed. Kurt, Lamb or Pollard?
I was on Lamb earlier.
One word.
Oh, one word? Okay.
Yeah.
Pollard.
Glock.
I'm Lamb.
That's 2 words. Fuck you. Mangone.
I didn't hear that part first.
Yeah,
Oh my God, bro! Can you guys not understand one fucking word?
I'm going. Give me
you can't start a sentence. It's one word.
It's called a tease. You know what I mean? There's a build up here. I'm trying to the suspense is killing people. You know what I'm saying?
Dude's not going to do a build up. It'll be George Kittle tonight.
My lean is Lamb.
All right, Lamb. I'll go Pollard. Oh fuck! I used one more. Yeah, my bad.
A little P2 action.
Purdy or Dak, and so Jason Graham asked a good question. Script of San Francisco winning 27-17. Purdy or Dak in that situation. Glock, I'll kick it to you there. I think you're on the Purdy wagon here. You're kind of building a similar script. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, but there's so many variables when it comes to a lineup. Like Jason Graham, I would look at what Cowboys do you have, right, in your lineup? If you have a Pollard, definitely not Dak, right? So you're just gonna hope Pollard gets in the box, scores that rushing touchdown, and is the raw points you need from Dallas' side. And then if you have a captain like CMC or Ayuk or Debo, then you're gonna hope, or Kittle, you're gonna play Purdy and just hope that they get the receiving touchdown. So it's really script dependent, and I'm obviously gonna lean Purdy. I'm overweight on him for sure.
I like it. I do want to bring up this question here. Mangone, I'll kick it to you here. Little Trop is fading both quarterbacks in single entry. Are you able to be on board with that? Do you think that's viable?
I understand it. I understand the thought process. I don't think it's correct. That's the only thing. I just think Purdy's floor is too good where I'd want to do it. I'd want to play him. I guess you'd really have to expect the game. If I did that, I would probably want at least one kicker probably in that build. And the reason why is I'm saying there's not a lot of scoring and you're eating a lot of PPR and just run game stuff. And then there's one of those kickers at least has a pretty big game for sure. So that's kind of my lean there. And because we have no value, that's why I like guys like Rubio said it. Michael Gallup captain popped up for him, right? Like, and I'm getting some too. And it's just, we don't have a lot of value on the slate. But if you want to go no quarterbacks, I mean, it's happened before. I just don't know if this is the slate for it.
Yeah. Let me jump in there real quick, Rubio. Yes. I think you could easily do it. CMC, Pollard, Debo, all 3 guys that can get rushing touchdowns. And then obviously that doesn't leave you a lot of salary left. So just mathematically, you can't jam in a quarterback with those 3. And those 3, you could easily get 2 rushing touchdowns from CMC, 1 each from Pollard and Samuels. And then you just, add in your kickers and your value there. I think it's totally viable. It's not a route I'm taking tonight, but the more that I think about it, it is pretty interesting for sure.
Yeah, so but you already lost Glock because you didn't play Kittle.
Fair.
You'll like this, man. Going, my top team under the contest Sims is actually a double QB fade. This is for the large field $15. But yeah, it is McCaffrey captain with 2 wide receivers for the Cowboys and Deebo Samuel in the mix. So it's interesting. I don't think.
Does it go a kicker?
It does go a kicker.
Okay, it's exactly what we just mentioned, basically.
Yeah, you can do a Michigan stack pretty easily tonight. Moody, Schoonmaker, and stuff like that. That would be kind of hot. Let's see here. How many uniques? I recommend 2, especially on this slate. I think that's usually the standard is 2, unless there's just a clear absolute nut value like we had in week 1 with Noah Gray. Kicker captain. Don't let JB see that. He won't like that one. I'm not going to do it. Ferguson or Gallup? I'm on Gallup. Kurt, what about you? Yeah, that's great. That's a good point. Yeah, that's good stuff, Kurt. Good stuff. Great stuff.
You're on mute.
He's on mute, man. He still hasn't realized it.
Oh. I was like, bro, what I don't know what I need to elaborate.
Ferguson or Gallup?
Yeah, no, I like Gallup more.
All right, perfect. Glock, you the same way?
I have more Gallup, yeah.
All right, and Mangone, Cord, Ferguson, which I actually like. I'm a bigger Ferguson fan than any other player in the league. So hopefully Ferguson goes off. I do end up having 34% of him, which I'm very happy with. I think Ayuk, I ended up being the most overweight on in the captain slot. So I'm looking forward to it. I think I just absolutely plowed CMC in the captain just now. I have 42% CMC in the captain. Hopefully he does well. We have 6 minutes to lock. Anyone who wants a question answered, let me know. We have Eugene Johnson. Why Debo over Ayuk? I have Ayuk over Debo personally. It's more the man coverage, zone coverage thing. Ayuk crushes against man. Debo crushes against zone. Debo is playable without Purdy more so, though. So that is an intriguing little facet there. Glock, I'll kick this one to you. I think we had a question in the live show chat potentially. It is Debo Ferguson or Ayuk Gallup.
Woo, that is a tough one. I like all 4 of those plays for sure. I'll lean the Ayuk Gallup side.
I like it. Mangone, you on that same wagon?
Which one was it?
Ayuk Gallup or Debo Ferguson.
He's on the Ferguson side.
I'm in Debo Ferguson, but I'll admit, I don't feel like it's not because of the Debo Ayuk side. It's more I just like Ferguson the most, so I think that's why.
Yeah, makes sense. Kurt, are you on the same? Are you on Ayuk Gallup or Debo Ferguson?
Ayuk side.
All right, perfect. I'm glad that you might not be smart enough to not fade Kittle, but no, you're on the side I'm on.
Yeah, so all that I don't think I see George Kittle in Big T's core. So that all that stands.
Calling out that big.
That's man. Crazy, bro. That's crazy. If Kittle's such a good play, why is he not in the core, Big T?
Would it fit in there? Would it even fit in there?
That's because he wants to give people 4 core plays. He knows the intelligent people will figure that out.
Well, do it. Does it fit? It has to. He's only 6,400.
So.
If you look at Big T's player pool, you can see how much percentage.
I'm not worried about the player pool. 8 man go. I didn't mention the player. We're not going to mention that part.
I'm just telling you that. I'm telling you the reason.
No, I saw the player pool. I'm clearly aware that he's getting over on Kittle, but
we can dive into this.
That's not a part of my argument.
We can dive into this Big T player pool. I do want to mention he is very much CMC heavy up top, but Kittle and Ferguson are his next 2 highest captains for whatever that is worth. And he is on the CMC captain wagon in his core as well. JBC, similar. CMC, he is, free core, 5 minutes left, 4 minutes left. You guys can get it. double quarterback for JVC with CMC captain. So that is intriguing build. I also think JVC would not be 5-1ing on the slate with the spread being tight. And yeah, they are both on both the quarterbacks and the flex more so. So yeah, that's interesting there for sure. Thoughts on $200 Schoonmaker with tight end injuries? I think Schoonmaker's our favorite value.
We like him
because it is dumpster diving, but there's literally no other value out there. And he 3 targets last week. Kurt even said that he dropped an easy touchdown last week too. So that is definitely worthwhile. He was a high draft pick too, an absolute stud at Michigan when he wasn't getting hurt. You guys are embarrassing. B-Nair is definitely taking Kurt's side here in this one. Put it in the live show chat that he gave Kittle a negative projection. So
my guy,
-5.
I feel bad. He was in Tampa a couple of days ago. I couldn't get out there because I was freaking running around like a chicken with the head cut off. But that's my guy.
Man,
you're too busy, Kurt. Dang,
I got
busy.
a question for you. No. Pollard, Gallup, or Kittle, Ayuk?
Pollard, Gallup, or Kittle, Ayuk? Probably Kittle, Ayuk.
All right, I like it. Any other questions at all? Let us know. Live show chat. Rashad is in there. Thank you very much, Rashad. You're welcome, man. And like we always say, if it's not one of us who wins the 500K, we hope it's one of you. If it's not Kurt, it's Glock or Mangone or me. We hope it's one of y'all. We'll go ahead and get out of here. We'll go ahead and get here so that way we can actually watch the kickoff here. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Shout out to all y'all for joining us and good luck.